Me veo loca. Pero if you're like me and you have trouble having conversations in Spanish because all you're learning is vocabulary, words, and grammar, and you don't actually know how to put a sentence together, I got you. This is what I'm doing right now, like as we speak, to help with my conversational Spanish. Okay, let's get into it. Once again, me veo loca, pero like that doesn't matter right now. We are studying. Me llamo daljiimarax. If you are new here, bienvenidos. And on this channel, we do solo travel, but right now we are learning Espanol. Vamos. So I wrote down a couple of different words that are very, very common in language that help form a sentence basically, and they are describing location or let me see, direction, if that makes sense. So ejemplo, let's get into the words and then I'm telling you how I'm kind of like breaking them down. Esta, esto, este, or in English, this. So this is used to describe like something that is close to you. Esta teléfono, so something nearby. Ese, esa, eso, or in English, that's something that's like not too far, like in the middle, like something on your porch. Esa porch or something like that. I don't know how to say porch in Spanish, no sé. Next we got aquel, aquella, aquello, and this is those or that. So this is something like far away, like over there a mile away, over there in another country, some shit like that. So these like things that are like representing or talking about location, they're used to like describe things like objects and like the time, like what is the time that this happened or something like that. So I feel like these, okay, we're gonna start with these. Me being able to master when to probably use those words and location are gonna be very important. Then we have orca, which is close by. Derecha, which is right, and then we have izquierda for left. So once again, I am writing down sentences in Spanish with these words, and I have to go back to like my previous notes that I've written in my notebook, and I have a little section where I talk about like the concept of time. I talk about now, later, today, tomorrow, things like that, and that's really going to help me like use a guide. So I'm basically kind of like going back to the Spanish I know in my head and applying it to the sentence. So for example, let's see what I got going on in my notes so I'm able to talk about them in a sentence. Yeah. Este libro es aquellas zapatos de amarillo, negro, chaqueta en el supermercado. Okay, in the past 15 minutes, here's the sentence the very simple sentences I was able to come up with. Este libro es rojo. ¿Dónde es esa negro chaqueta? Yo quiero caro ahí, allí. Aquellos zapatos son amarillos. El restaurante está allá. La escuela es lejos. Mi padre vive cerca. Ir a la derecha en el supermercado. El pan es a la izquierda. Alright, so to give you guys some help if you are also trying to figure out how to use sentences with these type of like conversational words, think of like when you're thinking of like, for example, esta, this. What do you use this for when you talk already? So I'm saying this book, this dog, this phone, this is the time I have to go over there. So it's like that's how I'm like thinking in creating these sentences. I'm looking at things around me and like what's going on in my life, and that was really what was helpful when it came to making these sentences. And I didn't try to make them difficult. Like it's very easy when you are trying to like learn Spanish or any language and you try to like Google translate an entire sentence. Like you say it in English like what you want to say, but then you type it in and then you write that down and then you try to practice that sentence that you just made on Google Translate, and like that's not really helping me learn the language. Like I'm positive there are some errors in those sentences that I just said. However, it's getting me familiar with forming sentences, and that's how conversation helps. I'm not gonna learn anything from typing something on Google Translate. I have to make these mistakes in conversation in order to be fluent in the language. Okay, boo? For example, when I said "Este libro es rojo," that's a very short ass sentence. It's very simple. Like I literally have a red book right here. So that was simple. Mi la escuela es lejos. My school is far away. I'm from Ohio and I live in Atlanta. That's accurate, you know? So it's just like, I didn't really have to try super hard to come up with these sentences, because these are sentences that I would probably say in English. I keep telling y'all that all the time. Good God. Anyway, I'm gonna try to, you know, challenge myself to write down and say longer sentences, but this is helping with me with like my short conversation, right? I could probably respond to some questions real quick if I keep this up, because I have all these filler words that are helping me, you know, form a sentence and have a conversation. So like, in addition to using these words to help me with my conversational Spanish, guess what? I also have another video on 9 different ways to say sí in Espanol. You probably thought it was just sí, didn't you? Go ahead and check that video out. I know you want to.